Ayo, Bladman here. So I'm repping the, I had to double check. Snot Rocket Inc. My good friend Eamon Van Dyke. This is his son's company. And I just want to support this. I think it's adorable and amazing. I know I have like 0 people following this. Not 0. 30 people and a few people watching. But support these guys. I'm wearing it backwards, and the reason for it is because if I wear it frontwards, actually, visibility is not horrible. I know I should have done this ahead of time, but I'm going to do it backwards. So here's the thing. Weirdly, I don't like wearing hats backwards. I think it looks stupid and weird and is counterintuitive in the real world. However, I'm making a video and I am shitty with the lights and I didn't plug in the right things and yeah. So we're dealing with the shitty lights and the shitty other things and David not being prepared. But today, okay, mind you, I'm a little backlogged because I have at least 3 videos that I need to make. This is one of the 3 that I need to make. And so I'm making it, but I feel very backlogged. So I might actually make another video tonight. We'll see. Wifey's coming home in a bit. She's going to make dinner, which is amazeballs, because whenever she makes dinner, it's so delicious. So scrumptious. So I'm very excited for dinner. I know that sounds so, like, whatever. Beta? I don't know. Simping? I don't know what the word is. I just love when my wife makes dinner. Even if it's not great food, I'm like, I don't care. It's amazing. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much that we've gotten rid of the things out of the freezer and we've cooked them and eaten them. Thank you. And it's not a knock on my wife, because I'm also a big fan of like, hey, let's go to Costco. Even though we're only a family of 2, let's go to Costco, buy a bunch of shit, and then, yeah, whatever. We'll just put whatever we don't eat in the freezer. Not a problem. It's like, well, that's not really workable if you don't eat it. And then you're like, well, I'm hungry. What are we going to do? In-N-Out, Chick-fil-A, Jack in the Crack. Sorry, we call Jack in the Box Jack in the Crack. Joking aside. Hi, Embers. Hi. Hi. Can I show you? So this is Embers. She likes to hang out in this room and this room only. Okay? And it's a fun story. The short version of it is I think we got her second or first. God, I can't remember. I think I don't recall. So we got her and she was fixed. And then we got Nova, who was not fixed. And I think we got Embers at like, Jessica went to like one of those yoga things. Anyways, whatever. So Embers didn't want to go outside at all. That cat didn't want to go outside at all. Nova was like, yeah, down to go outside. And she wasn't fixed. And Jess and I were like, oh, we should probably fix her if we don't want a bunch of kittens. And mind you, this was like a year after she's like out and about. But we had this like thought in our head. I'm sorry if I already told the story. And this is not what I'm supposed to be talking about. Gosh damn it. Anyways, fast forward. So right around the time Jess, my wife and I were like on the same page, we're like, all right, cool. Like, let's get her fixed. Yeah, bam, she's pregnant. It was like, well, and then conveniently, none of our friends wanted the kittens. I think my wife was specifically telling them, no, you can't have these kittens, while also offering the kittens. But whatever. And now we have a bunch of cats. But because of that, Nova is like weirdly friendzo, or not weirdly, like they're all of her kittens. And then Embers is over here, kittenless, catless, and just like she has her own little spot in the house. So, whatever. Hopefully I don't make too many noises and she'll want to come up and cuddle with me again. All right, so today, here's the book review. So sorry for the delay. Oh my gosh, if I was proper at editing, I would have cut all that out and we just skipped to the good shit, good stuff, whatever. So today we're talking about a book that I just finished reading. And it's called Armored by Mark Greaney. I'm looking at my computer because I'm trying to get more technologically advanced. I'm like, oh, I can talk to people and have information here on the side and still talk to people. So, Mark Greaney, I don't know anything about this guy at all. The only reason I know about this book at all, and this author at all, is because I read a book suggested by somebody else called Grunt Life, which I already did a review about. Very much enjoy, highly suggest. 3 books, kind of post-apocalyptic setting, yada yada. Very enjoy. Not going to talk about it again. But in that, there was a training thing. And in that training thing, they mentioned a metric crap load of books and other stuff and movies to watch. And it's been bothering me. I'm going to reread the book series because I feel like I need to take more notes about the movies and other books. But basically, I tried to notate all the books that they suggested in there because I was like, oh, well, I mean, I want to read these. These sound fun. These sound interesting. And this came up. So that's how it came about. And this is one of those books that I started and I had to continue. Like, I just couldn't stop. Now, for those of you who don't know, I do audiobooks. That's how, I want to say primarily, but that's not really saying it correct. I pretty much only do audiobooks. It's not that I don't like the other version. I do. I used to read so much, but I don't anymore. And there's a lot of reasons behind it. But simply put, audiobooks is what I go for. And what I would suggest to anyone out there, check out Libby, Libby, Libby. They're not sponsored. I wish that'd be cool. I would love to be sponsored by them, but whatever. But check out Libby. It's a free app. It costs 0 money. All you need is a library card. And to get a library card, you just got to go to your local library and show them, hey, I live here, and they'll give you a free library card. And then you can get free audiobooks for free. Wonderful. And you can also get free digital books, too, for those of you who like to read that way. Anyways, it's saved me oodles and oodles of effort. I also have Audible, but Audible costs monthly expenditure. So if you're on the cheap, which I understand, then do Libby. Anyhow, so without getting too much into the weeds on this, well, no. Actually, we're going into all the weeds on this. What am I talking about? Crazy talk. Okay. Armored is the name of the book. Armor. Like armor that you wear on your chest, but then you're armored. And the picture is like a armored truck, which is so funny because I don't imagine that's what they actually used in the thing. So it's kind of a weird... I feel like the person who created the artwork didn't really understand the assignment. They're like, oh, yeah, this is an armored vehicle. And I'm like, but so tell me you didn't read the book without telling me you didn't read the book. And that's what the image is. And to be fair, the image is a good image. Like, I applaud the image. I think it's a good image. I think it illustrates well what they were going for. However, when I'm listening to the book, I don't see what the illustrator illustrated. So yeah, it's a common thread. It's actually kind of problematic with illustrators who illustrate a whole book, especially when you get into like big books like Wheel of Time. It's like, how do you illustrate a whole book into one thing? Anyways, so the simplicity of it is you got this guy who used to do, he used to be in the army, then he used to do private security, and now he's not doing that anymore. And he has this opportunity to do this like extremely high paying job in Mexico that's very, very dangerous, but he really shouldn't be on this short list to do this at all. I don't want to give anything away. I mean, it's kind of there in the description, so you could just look at Amazon, but whatever. Anyways, so he's missing a leg because of his previous thing, and he shouldn't be on this mission because even though he's capable of doing all the stuff, like when you get into stuff like that, it's not like construction where you're like, oh yeah, so you just can't do this stuff. It's like, no. You have to be 110%. So if you're going to be in a high danger mission, you don't want anyone who can't do 110%. And it isn't to say that he's not capable. It's just, there's a difference between 110% and 102%. And he's more at the 102% or even less because he's literally missing a leg and has a synthetic leg, fake leg. And it's interesting because that comes up a little bit, but also not at all. And I applaud that. I think it's amazing. I'm not going to lie to you. Simply, this book is just enjoyable. It's a rah-rah Americana, rah-rah ethics and morals and choosing the right thing regardless of the consequences and sticking by your choices. And it is an interesting ode of joy to Americans who were not part of the military anymore, who got kicked out for whatever reason, the rejects. It's like a reject love story. And I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I enjoyed listening to it. I thought it was so fascinating. It was also there was this really good part of it where you have this guy and his wife you also used to be in the military. Like, it's basically a love story to the military. But she does things that I'm like, and what's brilliant is if it was a Hollywood movie, I would have expected this and this and this. And there was weird because there was those moments and I'm listening and I'm expecting those moments, but they don't happen. They don't happen at all. Instead, you get this other thing, and I'm like, oh, holy cannoli. Oh, gee, wow. Like, I'm looking at my audiobook, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we still have 2 hours left. How? I thought we were done. Like, if this was a Hollywood movie, we'd be done. And it was so awesome to have the writer just like escalate it without you feeling like you were lied to, misled, cheated, whatever. It was great. I don't know. Simply put, it was enjoyable. I don't know how long it is, 10 hours or whatever. It's a terrific audiobook to listen to. The guy who did the audiobook did a terrific job of articulating different people. And the author did a really good job. I only have there was like 1 or 2 characters that I was like, and a few parts that I was like, wait, I don't know wait, what happened? But in a beautiful way, I think the author did a really good job of building up this whole thing and then also letting it kind of unfold the way it unfolded and giving you a nice, good release and making none of it seem Hollywood. All of it seemed organic and raw and real. And I felt for the people involved and the reason they're there. And then when stuff happened, you're just like, oh. And honestly, now that I think about it, I'm like, this should be a feature film. Like, this should be something that'd be worth having as a feature film, as a concept. Not unlike Extraction, but not Extraction, a different concept. And it doesn't have to be a big budget thing. I think it only needs to cost like $20 million, which, hey, if you got $20 million and you'd like me to make a movie, I got an idea for you. But, like, it doesn't have to cost a ton of money. I just think it's a really cool idea and a cool concept. And frankly, I think it's one of those kind of movies that stories that can kind of remind people about South of America. like south of like Mexico and beyond, because this is primarily in Mexico, like the part in Southern America, you know, that area. Sorry, I'm trying to be politically correct, but I'm also not trying to be do. But in Mexico, like, and the dichotomy and the world and the environment that pertains, I think that there is something to be said with how he built the world that would be beneficial for people like us who are primarily Americans to listen. I assume most of my viewers are American, to like listen to this and be like, oh wow, I had no idea. And frankly, I had some idea, but not any real idea, because he does a good job of like transporting you out, like wherever you're at, you're over there. And I felt there, and not necessarily in a, I'm not trying to say it in a corny way. It wasn't like, oh, it was so transcendent, because it wasn't that. It was just it's just an action book. But he did a terrific job of putting you in the place, and you felt there living. And it's something I can say. The difference would be like if you read Tolkien, and you're like, oh, he describes the trees and the forest and the hills and the mountains and all this stuff, and he builds this world. And I'm not knocking Tolkien. He's the man of his time, and frankly, he's the godfather of fantasy. But that doesn't really jive so much anymore when you also account for people can intuit their own imagination. So when you get more modern authors doing fiction like Mark Greaney for this book, Armored, it kind of allows you to intuit your own thing and really like feel the rain without being told, oh, and you're being rained upon, if that makes sense. So anyways, this I way overly articulated. Sorry, this has become a long video. However, I highly suggest watch Armored. Yeah, watch Armored in a couple years once I've written the script, and then I've convinced the Hollywood producers to fuck off, and I've got some independent producers to say yes, hired some independent actors to get on board, do a good video of it. I might even have a supporting role in it, and you can watch that in 2027. Right, check in once we've got that all settled, and then yeah, it'll be a good movie. It'll be a smash hit. It'll be like when Gerard Butler did that series, Olympus Has Fallen, right? It'll be like that. And then we'll just follow this character along in different scenarios, right? Yeah, just check in. 2, maybe 3 years, depending on how long the script is, but make it happen. So, joking aside, the annoying thing is I've said that, and now I'm like, that's actually a brilliant idea. What's wrong with that? But yeah, check out Armored. Check out the audiobook. Read it, whatever you want to do. Highly suggest. Love you all. Bye.